Hello. In today's video, we're going to do how to change a Toyota Camry radiator. The original one here has cracked and is steaming and burning through it, which is obviously not good. So we're going to walk through how to do that, and I'll show each of the steps that I'm doing. I'm going to try to format this video a little bit different and just cut to exactly what you need to see as the steps, and hopefully that'll work nice. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll know whether or not to make more videos that way or do the longer form. So down there at the bottom, you see this guy right here. That is your radiator drain. So I've opened that up and let all the liquid come out. You can see some down there in that bucket. I use that to catch it. Those do get stuck pretty good sometimes. So you might need a pair of pliers. Hopefully you can still get it to twist. If not, your only other option is going to be to remove this big line. That runs down to the bottom of our radiator. Kind of see it down there. Way down here at the bottom, there's another clamp. You can kind of see it. You'd have to remove that and make a big mess everywhere if you can't get your drain open. I've taken my 2 screws out of this and moved it around. That's the air scoop. That goes right up into our air box. There were 2 10mm bolts. And then you have to kind of force it out of the way, and it's curved and bent on, this is a 2003, so it's kind of in the way. We'll just push that aside as much as you can. Right, my next step here that I'm going to do is take these bolts out. That is holding on the fan shroud. I'm going to take those bolts out, and we're going to unplug it right here, this electrical connector, and hopefully we can pull the whole fan shroud out. I might have to take this off in the process. This is that upper radiator hose. So that's what it looks like before we've done anything. If I do that during this step, you're just going to pinch this with a pair of pliers. I mean, sometimes you can grab them by hand, but probably pliers. Move that out, and then you should be able to twist the hose and pull back on it and get it to open up. Sometimes these get really, really corroded on, and the corrosion and that heat, continuous heat cycle actually acts like super glue, and you'll have to break them free using a screwdriver. The shroud is loose. That electrical connector and 3 more 10mm bolts held that on. So now we have to move this out of the way so the whole thing comes up. So I've just spent a little bit of time trying to get this fan shroud out. I believe I skipped a step here. Now there's 4 10mm bolts on this gray piece here that's running across our stuff. I'm going to take those out, and that should either let me remove this or just move it, which will give me a little more room to get this out. But we've got our gray piece loosened up here just a little bit. Our radiator will move back and forth some. Let's try to peel this up out of here. Caught a little bit on that side. Okay. Fan shroud is out. Our next little thing here, we'll go ahead and pop this thing out of the way. See, that one you can do by finger. Move that one up out of the way. That's just the overflow. And I'm going to seal that back onto it just so I don't lose it. And now we're ready for the tube down below. So you take your pliers again, figure out where the clamp is at so you can go in, grab it, move it, and do the same thing that we did up here. And hopefully it'll twist free just as easy. All right, so you can see we've got our hose loosened and taken off. And we've gotten the clamp moved back on that one and our line there. I did have to crawl under the vehicle to do that. So now let's see if we can twist this baby loose. Right, I got her free a little bit. That's going to take two hands. But it's the same way, you know, you can just grab them, get them to twist a little bit, and that usually breaks them free. So we'll get those removed, and the radiator should come right out. All right, we got those loosened up. Well, sorry, removed. It is leaking a little bit of fluid out of there, but that's okay. We're going to top that off later. But we move this gray piece out of the way again. Now we can grab this, and the radiator comes right out. Here's a little close-up of some of it. You can see a little bit of moisture up here along that seam line. This is where I had noticed it leaking and steaming out of before. But you can see over in here, there was some sort of crack in it too. And like down here along the bottom, there is moisture all over this. Our new radiator looks to have everything on it except for these little rubber posts. We got to stick those back in the car because these are supposed to sit in your frame and then you drop that little post onto them. All right, here's our new radiator. We've got it all unpackaged. I'm going to leave these little red protective caps on there until we get it installed, just to try to keep any extra dirt from getting down into your transmission lines. That's what these are. There's a little transmission cooler that runs across that. Now, when you're installing this, you want to be careful not to bend these little tiny fins in there. As you can see, I've already done that. They're extremely easy to bend. That was just from my hand accidentally brushing it when I was taking the packaging off. So we're going to try to be careful not to mess up any more. That's what actually gives your radiator its cooling. The air gets pulled through that, and each one of these solid lines pushes liquid through. We'll go ahead and get that installed just like we did with the old one. We're going to move that little gray piece and drop this down in. We were able to get this dropped in with pretty much no drama. Now, this wiggles around, so what I'm going to do is stick my piece that I bent out of the way here. I'm going to wiggle it around and let it kind of fall back in place. That'll keep our radiator from moving a whole lot right now. So now we can go ahead, take our little caps off of those brass pieces and reattach our transmission lines. Push your hose back on. Now these wiggle around a little bit. So what we're going to do is take a 19 millimeter for this particular one, and we'll just snug it up a little. That keeps these from swiveling anymore now that we got the hose on there and it's aimed in the right direction. Okay, check it. Yep. So now we're ready to stick our clamps back on. I gotta crawl underneath again to do that. Before we jump to putting our fan shroud on, I've got to reinstall. I took these off too. This is the lower hose, and I took the upper hose off. So I went ahead and replaced these. This is a new one. You don't have to do that every time, but this has been in here for, what, 23 years, 22 years, something like that. So I figured it was time to go ahead and change these. Should just be able to reach down in here and pop it right on. Get your upper side connected. Make sure you get your clamps on. Now, I'm only doing the lower one right now, and then I can put the fan shroud in and then do the upper. That way that this hose is out of our way and I don't keep hitting it with stuff. All right, we got the bottom hose attached and clamp on up here. Now we've got our fan shroud back in. That went relatively easy. You just have to make sure you're not getting hung up on stuff like that. This hose here was in the way. And then you watch your electrical connector. We'll hook that, actually we can hook that up right now. Till it goes and clicks. Now the one thing that I need to mention about this, on the radiator, there's these little tabs. See that? Your heat shroud slide has a little piece like this on it and it slides into that. Which I missed the first time, but after you get it in place, you can scoot it up just a little bit and let it drop in. So the heat shroud's currently sitting where it needs to. I just got to bolt it in. All right, we've got our bolts in for our fan shroud. We got it tightened up. We've got our little cross member piece here tightened up. Before we stick our upper radiator hose on, I'm going to stick my air cleaner thing back in because it kind of gets tangled up and wrapped around through this stuff. I'm going to have to leave it loose though, so I can move it just a little bit for our hose. After having the fight of my life trying to get this clamp on, I've resorted to going with the old tried and true hose clamp. Wanted to point out here, the way that I took this piece off, it bent that little guy here. That's just some flimsy metal, and we can kind of bend it back in place. I'm going to use my screwdriver here. Bend that right back up tight. And now we can get our bolt in there. Right, now that we've got everything in and tightened back down, all of our hoses are connected. Our plug down there is tight. We can go ahead and rehook this little piece up just so you don't forget it later on. And get your clamp on it. Now we're ready to start adding some antifreeze. All right, we ran out of our pre-mixed antifreeze here. So now we're ready to mix it up. And this is antifreeze concentrate. If you go to buy your own, you'll have to pay attention to that. Concentrate's usually about $3 to $5 more, but you get twice as much when you go buy 1 gallon of distilled water. So what we're going to do here is find our halfway mark, and we'll start filling this up. Okay, that's right about halfway. You want it close to a 50-50 mix. If you're a smidge over or under, it shouldn't hurt anything. Now we take our concentrate, and I'm going to mix up the rest here. But now that we've got this one mixed up, and we have this one half empty, and that's our concentrate, we take our other half gallon of this, dump in here, and then we have 2 gallons of 50-50 mixed antifreeze. All right, we let it run for a little bit there. You're supposed to turn on the heater too, or the defrost, and then turn it up, at least to level 2. I think some things say to put it on max, but either way, it pulls a little bit of the antifreeze into that system and make sure it circulates. So when I did that, I ended up adding a little bit more. Let it run for a few minutes though, topped off our reservoir. So now if it does have a big air bubble in there, it can suck it out of that as it goes. I did a little leak check. Don't see any evidence of it at the moment. Recheck the transmission fluid. Doesn't look like we lost very much out of there from taking those lines off. I can't even tell that it's low on the dipstick. If you do this, just remember to check that in a couple of days after you've driven it. Good and hot, and then you can make sure your fluid level is good. But you saw all the more there is to it. Other than fighting with the clamp on that, it really isn't a bad job. And I think it took me maybe 2 hours, and that was trying to catch angles of it with the camera and everything. So it should take you anywhere from an hour to 2.5 hours, and you can knock this out yourself. So good luck. Hope this helps, and we'll see you next time.